the Batman trailer with Robert Patterson finally premiered with DC Fandom. And man, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Like, I actually I actually like the trailer, and I think I know why. I think I know why I'm excited for this, and I think I know why this hit me in a certain way that I wasn't expecting.
Hmm.
I think this is the closest thing we'll ever get to Netflix Daredevil on the big screen.
Oh,
Oh, this, bro. I mean, the red font, the cowl, just the style. I'm like, this shit is Daredevil, bro. Like, this is getting some Daredevil meets the Crow vibe from this shit, man. Like,
okay.
with the grunge, the Nirvana soundtrack, the dark elements, the detective type shit. I mean, it's different. I wouldn't say it's totally different from what we've seen before,
Hmm.
but it is kind of reaching this, oh man, this grunge kind of
Hmm.
gothic emo kind of thing, man, with Robert
Hmm.
Patterson. And that's kind of his forte with the Twilight films. I know he's an established actor now. He just did, was it The Lighthouse? He can act. The man can act. I got
Tenet.
no Tenant. Yep, this
Wait,
man
which?
can
Oh
act.
my. So I seen the trailer. I watched it about 3 times. I'm not gonna overdose on it. Let's get into the good and the bad, right? So what I do like that there's a different type of approach, and that it feels more psychological thriller type story as opposed to a straight up action movie. The description that I would give the prior trilogy, meaning the Christopher Nolan trilogy, the feel of that was more, oh man, crime drama type storyline. There
Hmm.
wasn't much focus. Even the story of the trilogy for Christopher Nolan was focused on Gotham City, right? At least
Right.
that's how I felt. I felt that it was telling a story set within Gotham City. Everything that happened in that series of movies was focused on things that were happening in Gotham City and how Batman was doing his part to combat what was going on in Gotham City.
Right.
It was never personal. It was never an issue where you seen how things weighed on him mentally for what it was that he was doing.
Right.
That was the vibe that I got.
Each film was basically fighting for the heart and soul of the Gotham City.
Right. It was a different crime story in each movie. Whereas from what I'm seeing in this trailer, it looks a little bit more psychological. It looks a little bit more, I'm not going to say personal, but it looks like this version of the character is going to have to work a little bit harder to get the results. I like seeing Jeffrey Wright as Jim Gordon, you know what I'm saying? Because Jeffrey Wright is a damn good actor. I like
Oh yeah.
Jeffrey Wright. I've never seen him miss in any particular part that he's ever played. So
So far so
that,
good on Gordon.
yes, I enjoy that very much. 100% like that, because you look at the flip side of that. J.K. Simmons didn't get a chance to breathe as Jim Gordon. J.K. Simmons was casted as Jim Gordon just cause, pretty much, right? Because
Yeah.
he looks good with a mustache and a pair of glasses on, but he wasn't actually playing the part of Jim Gordon. He was just casted as Jim Gordon. I do agree with you in that the tone of it feels different enough to where I could tell that they're not trying to recreate something that was started 15 years ago. They're not going for the same beats as they were 15 years ago. We're not going to get the story of how Bruce Wayne becomes Batman. We're not going to get that story.
Yeah,
I
this ain't
think
Batman Begins light.
this is what I'm going to say. The Dark Knight trilogy was film opera. That's
Mm.
what it was. It was opera. Each of those movies, in terms of plot structure, the way that the characters acted, the 3-act structure, the visuals, the soundtrack, all of that was film opera from beginning to the end.
Whew,
That's what
go ahead, man.
that's what Christopher Nolan does. Christopher Nolan is a conductor as much as he is a director. Film opera is the way that I'm going to describe the Dark Knight trilogy.
Shit, dude, you nailed it right there, man.
Even with this movie Tenet that I can't wait to see, but digress. This one, like you said, looks like grunge rock. This is a concert at a music hall. This isn't film opera. This isn't a movie that's going to be made, I think, for your scholarly purist film fans. This is a movie that is going to be made for and catered to a smaller audience that's different. I still think your hardcore moviegoers are going to be into this because, like you said, there's parallels between this and something like The Crow or a Netflix Daredevil or the psychological slow burn thrillers of the past, just with a Batman coat of paint on it. Mm-hmm. And it's a different type of direction. Tim Burton Batman movies kind of tried to touch on that, but I don't think they could do it because it was the 1980s. Batman Returns was the closest that it came to that. And while Batman Returns was violent, I don't think it was as visceral as the vibe that I get in this trailer here. But I agree with what you said 100%, man. And I would be very surprised if there's not a hallway fight scene.
Yeah, man. I think also that it's just they know they don't want to do Batman Begins light.
Yep.
And also they want to do something that's contrast to the super masculine Ben Affleck Batman.
Yep.
So you have this kind of more petite, a little bit more sophisticated, not sophisticated, just a little bit more with the detective skills. This is going for a lot more. This is a Batman movie that's going to really showcase his mystery, crime, drama, detective skills.
Right.
I think that's what they're going for. And we have a young Bruce Wayne who's obviously still suffering from the effects. I mean, all Bruce Waynes are suffering from the effects of his parents dying, but this one looks a little bit more fresh. Like he's really not over it at all. Like this is really an outlet for him to kind of have some kind of mental therapy of that loss. And you can kind of get this vibe that, I mean, this Batman is not going to grow into the same Batman that we know. Like, this is year 2 Batman, but...
Oh, man, you just read my mind. I was going to say the exact same thing, man. Fuck!
Yeah, I didn't mean to take your shit, man, but I think having the Riddler as this Jigsaw from the Saw films, I think that's a smart move for the detective feel. I feel like if you're gonna do a detective movie starring Batman, what better villain to showcase that than the Riddler? Cool. And he probably will have some Jigsaw like tendencies. Who knows what traps or what things he's gonna leave in the wake of Bruce Wayne. The film is 25 to 30% done, so they're not even halfway done with the film in terms of production. So there's a lot more to be seen and there's a lot more to be shown. So, but just on first impressions of the film, you can really get a feel of where they're going for. And Matt Reeves is a fine, good director. He directed Planet of the Apes trilogy. He's got some big shoes to fill. You know what I'm saying? In terms of Nolan, in terms of what they did with the Joker. I mean, where else do you go? And now you also have the shadows of Batfleck still being in existence. Yes. And also the previous Batmans, Michael Keaton and the Flashpoint. So you have you gotta have to hit a target that's you can't just blemish them all together to get Robert Pattinson. I think they're playing up to Robert Pattinson's strengths of kind of being this kind of socially awkward, even his civilian look, his Bruce Wayne look, has this kind of emo feel to it, man. He doesn't look like this rich playboy billionaire. He doesn't. He doesn't come off of that as all. He comes off as that kind of that socially awkward guy in class that no one really kind of talks to, you know?
Or that somebody who is still trying to get see, you're changing my mind on this as I'm hearing you speak now.
Mm-hmm.
Because it appears I get what and see, this is where the intrigue for me comes in at, right? Because it
Mm-hmm.
comes off as a guy who is still trying to get comfortable within his own skin. And if you're a young man that's inherited an abundance of wealth, but the reason you inherited that abundance of wealth was because you lost your parents. You
Mm-hmm.
still need guidance, but you've decided that you want to take on this role of protector, but you're not sure why you're doing it. You didn't hear him in the trailer say, I am justice. He said, I am vengeance. Those are two
Right.
different things there. The Christian Bale version of that character never came off as a guy who was doing it to get a catharsis and come to grips with a loss that he had. It was
Right.
all about justice and trying to make sure that what happened to him didn't happen to somebody else. So, yes, on that part of it, that is something that I don't think has ever been addressed live action for the character of Batman or Bruce Wayne. So I am excited to see that. The only issue there is, like you were saying, you've kind of already seen a character do that before. Kind of already seen a character who wasn't necessarily comfortable in his own skin come to grips with trying to find the difference between vengeance and justice and figuring out why he's doing what he's doing. So, all in all, my level of excitement for it, I'll say last night it was about an 8 out of 10. And I
Mm-hmm.
mean, a day later today, I'm going to say it's still probably about an 8 out of 10. But this version of the character is one that I could draw a parallel to real life the same way that I could draw a parallel to the one that was popular before it. But like you were saying though, the Ben Affleck version of Batman was the hyper masculine, older, kind of more jaded, rigid type of character who was sure of himself almost to a fault because he was convinced he was the one that had to kill Superman.
Oh yeah,
Right?
most def. Right. Right.
He was the one that was convinced that his way of doing it was the only way to do it. To where now I'm out here killing people now.
Right.
This and I mean I know we don't went on a tangent right now, but this version that I seen in this trailer doesn't come off as being sure of any of that. Like this version of this character looks like he could kill somebody by accident.
Right. He looks almost uncomfortable being in the damn suit. To be honest with
Right.
you, at times.
Right.
Yeah.
So if that's what if we're gonna get that and it's presented in a way that's entertaining, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. I'm too grown to give a damn that Batman is the guy that was in Twilight. Like, I don't care about that. That's not important.
Right.
You know, like that's really not important. I mean, there's no point in losing any sleep over that. But I agree with what you were saying though. This is a concert at your local bar. This
Mm-hmm.
is not film opera right here. It's not. This isn't something that I think is being made with the intention of advancing the genre or blending into high class, high level filmmaking. I do not believe that at all. But knowing that, I'm not expecting it either. And a lot of people need to be careful if that's what they're expecting because that's not what this is supposed to be.
No, I mean, most definitely not. And I'm not expecting this just to be some emo fest where
No.
Batman is going to take over Hot Topic or any shit like that. But it does have this element to it where pulling on those same string notes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is having this kind of long Halloween feel to it, dude. I mean, the brightness on the damn video, you got to put the damn screen the freaking bright to see it any goddamn thing on it. You know what I'm saying? Like they
Yeah.
are kind of reaching for that energy and that
Mm-hmm.
feeling, man. And I mean, I'm dead serious when I say I get literally kind of like this crow vibe from the shit when he says vengeance. It's like I'm not going for I'm literally going for vengeance of my parents. Like he's just, you know what I'm saying? Like he's just not over it. And it's just like when he's walking up to Commissioner Gordon. Well, I'm not sure it's Commissioner there, but when he's walking up to Gordon, and the Riddler leaves the note in the beginning, he almost looks awkwardly uncomfortable walking up to him. Like, oh shit, this might be kind of too big for me right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think we can see that transition of being, I'm unsure of myself, and I'm unsure if why am I even doing this? That I'm using this as a coping mechanism for my parents' death, to see kind of a natural step forward to like, this is why I'm doing this. I'm not doing this for vengeance. I'm doing this for justice, and having that a little bit more of that self-confidence and self-assurance of what I'm doing is right. If they can transition naturally and organically to that, that's I think that's definitely a thematic element worth going after, because in Batman Begins, we didn't, I mean, once he kind of figured it out, he figured it out. And it was, Bruce
Yep.
kind of figured it out fast. You know what I'm saying? So once he
Yep.
got the suit, once he basically got the suit in Batman Begins, it was on. Once he got the suit in
Yep.
Batman Begins, it was on. This doesn't look the same. This is looking like he's got the suit, but he still got some shit he got to fix up. He still got some, some misfire, some training. He got shot in the trailer, and looks like he's damn near escaping for his life when he's going up the grappling hook, and you can see, I think, some thugs shooting at him from underneath. It looks like this guy,
Right.
this is a Bruce overwhelmed by what he's gotten himself into.